What do I have in my chin? I look like a snake. Just my skin is falling off, people. But yeah, hello. So today is the 23rd of August. So the readathon has been going on for 23 days. And I am making some progress finally because I finally reached the manga part. But I'm getting a little bit stressed out because if I don't read all of the manga that I have to read today or tomorrow at least, I will have less than a week to read my last physical supposed book that I have to read for the readathon, and I think that that is not sufficient time for me to read the book, although it's not fairly long, but because of my thesis and everything, I haven't had a lot of time for reading actual physical books. But let's just update you guys on what I've read, because let's just not panic, okay? So I am currently going through my charms exams. So I finished my acceptable, which was Ruby, the giant standalone volume collection of some stories of Ruby. So I told you that, and this was for the prompt Magic in It. So this is basically an animation. It's not anime, it's an animation that has been going on for some time that I actually love, and now it's coming out in manga. And this is kind of a standalone with some stories that are kind of prequels to the animation series, and then mixed together with the first season of the animation. So this is just some extra content that you can have that builds up on the character development and on everything. It has really cute art. One of the most beautiful is like this one, but it has a lot of short stories in a way that happen in between the first season and also before the first season that can correspond to some special episodes that came out of the season. So I really enjoyed reading this because I'm obsessed with Ruby. I am patiently waiting for the next volume, which is what they call to the settlement of episodes, but it hasn't come out yet, so I am really expecting it. And then I read My Exceeded Expectations for Charms, which was a cover that charmed you, and that was also a Ruby thing, Red Like Roses. And this is basically an anthology and kind of a short story collection with a lot of different drawing people, like artists and writers and everything, about some short stories about Ruby. So about again, it's kind of stories that happen between the first season and the beginning of the season and the first season. They don't go further because obviously for that you have the animation, which I do want you guys to see. Like, it's really cool. If you like animation and if you like cool fight scenes, if you like these fairy tale-esque kind of stories, I would really tell you to see. This is on Rooster Teeth, so if you can get access to it on internet, it's free and it's pretty cool. The episodes are like 11 minutes long or something, so it's pretty cool. And this is about our main character, Ruby Rose, and she's the one on the cover, and this cover is just gorgeous. So it's a cover that absolutely made me fall in love with this, and I had no idea what the rest of the book was about. Like, I know there were some stories about Ruby, but I had no idea like if they expanded on the animation or if they didn't. So they didn't, but well, they did, but they didn't expand like in a sequel-ish kind of way. They expanded in what you already know, but they told you a little bit more stories about it, and it was pretty cool. The art changed between the stories, and that was cool. And I like the comparisons of Ruby Red to Little Red Riding Hood, which is the character that it is supposed to represent. And I love her. I love this cover. I love everything. The second book of this anthology, I think it's coming out in August? No, in September? I have no idea, but I already have it pre-ordered. And I love it. It's going to be about Weiss, and she's supposed to be like some sort of a Snow White-ish kind of character, and I love it. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. So I am now reading my Outstanding for Charms, which is a book that will leave a mark. And I am stupid as hell because I am making things difficult for me. Why? Because I decided I was going to read volume 3 of Happiness, because it's a series that I already read the first 2 volumes. And it's a series that is leaving a mark because it's beautiful, perfect, and it also has some hard topics. But what did I do instead of starting with volume 3 already? I started with volume 1 again. I don't know if I have some clips about volume 1. If I do, I will insert them because the art is amazing, so I would really love for you guys to see. And yeah, so I'm going to read volume 1 and 2 again before I get to volume 3, but that's going to be fast. But then I have to read volume 4 for Transfiguration for my exceeded expectations, but I am also going to read volume 5 because I want to and because it's the last one that I have. Volume 6 and 7 are already out, I believe. So, but I don't have those ones. So I'm just going to read until volume 5, and yeah, just going to do some reading. Also work a little bit more on my thesis because it's dark outside, so I can't catch some sun. So yeah, that's gonna be it. And I know that I look like I came out of bed just now, but I didn't. I actually combed my hair, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that was my update. So I will see you later. So actually, I forgot to say that I watched this morning To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I have never read the book, like ever. And I am not going to because it's a contemporary and I don't really like it that much, but I do enjoy watching these types of movies. Sometimes it was fairly lovey-dovey and that's not really my type of thing, but I really enjoyed watching it. And it was a cool 1 hour and a half. I enjoy the movie. It was dramatic as I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't as dramatic as I was expecting it to be. So it was pretty cool. I think things were solved in a very rational and beautiful manner, so I enjoyed it. I am not really sure how I feel about the characters, but they do seem normal teenagers and normal characters that could actually react in these ways, and it seemed normal. It seemed not an over-exaggerated thing that you sometimes enjoy because it's fairly dramatic, but you know that will never happen in real life. This was kind of something that I could see happening to some people in real life, some people that I actually know. So that was pretty fun. And I really enjoyed watching the movie, although I didn't want to read the books. And I didn't think that I actually needed to read the book. Like, obviously, the movie, it's going to be different from the books. It always is. There's nothing you can do about it. I cannot discuss if it's a good adaptation or not, but I felt like I understood the entire premise of the story without having to read the book, so I was fairly happy about that. I enjoyed the movie, and yeah, it was a cool movie, so I'm gonna work now. Bye-bye. So I've got an update for you guys. I've been doing some thesis work. I've been doing some thesis work, and I took some small breaks to read a little bit. So I have read volumes 2 to 5 of Happiness, the manga. I'm going to show them to you so that you can see. So that concludes my outstanding for Charms, which was a book that's going to leave a mark. And for that I read volume 3 without actually knowing that it was going to be a very strong book. And then it concludes my Transfiguration Exceeded Expectations because it was a book by an author you haven't read anything before. As I said already in one of my clips, this author, Shuzo Shimi, he's an author. He has another series called The Flowers of Evil, which I never read, but I bought one of the volumes because I'm really interested in reading it. I love his heart, and I love the story of Happiness, so I believe that I will love Flowers of Evil as well. But I never read any of his other works, only Happiness. So I counted volume 4 of Happiness as part of my exceeded expectations for Transfiguration. So I'm gonna try and show you the volumes that I read. So I read Happiness volume 1. It was a reread, and I read it yesterday at night. Then I read today Happiness volume 2. Then Happiness volume 3, which was the one for Charms. Happiness volume 4, which was the one for Transfiguration. And yeah, now you're seeing me. And Happiness volume 5. because I wanted to. And currently I think that volume 6 is already out. I have already seen the cover and everything, but I haven't got it, so I can't read more of it. And then I think that volume 7 is going to be published or is being published. I don't know, I'm not sure. But I definitely have to finish this collection because I love this manga series. It is so dark. It's kind of a mixture. Well, it's not a mixture. I really do believe that it's paranormal and horror, and it's great. This is basically a vampire story, but really dark and twisty, in which vampires are not at all that romantic paranormal thing that you're used to in YA. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy that. I have read a Twilight series a lot of times, although it's not my favorite book, but I had. And I watched the Vampire Diaries and True Blood and everything, so I really enjoy that. But I prefer this type of vampires because it's sort of horror movie-ish kind of vampires, and I absolutely love it. So this is basically the story of this boy, this young boy. He's in high school, in first year of high school, I believe. And he gets bitten by this vampire, so he starts developing some characteristics. And then he gets messed around with this gang and with another vampire, and people end up dead, and another one of his friends gets up turned into a vampire, and shit hits the fan, like literally. And the art of this is really so dark. Let me just try to show you. I don't know if you will be able to see it, but I'll touch. So I don't know if you can see, but it's really, really bloody and really, really... It's not very gory, but it's really dark, and you can see that there's going to be a lot of suffering, and it's going to be a very hard-hitting manga series, so I'm really enjoying it. And I ticked off 2 things for today. So next, I am thinking about taking off my exceeding expectations for potions, which is going to be Parasite manga series. I decided, because spoilers for my book haul for this month, I have completed the series finally, so I have got volumes 5, 7, and 8, which were the volumes that I was missing. So what I'm going to be doing is, if I start Parasite today or tomorrow, I'm going to try and read the entire series for the challenge of book with a male main character, which is my Exceed Expectations and Potions. If I don't start them today, I will just consider volume 1, because I have got to read my last book, and that one's going to take some time, so yeah. So I'm very happy that I ticked off already 2 of the things that I have to read, and I read all of the books that I have of this series, so I have to get volume 6 when I can. And yeah, I really love this. It was really amazing, and if you like horror and you like your paranormal creatures, I definitely recommend Happiness. It's not fairly gory, like it has some images that can trigger stuff, especially if you have problems with blood. Definitely you shouldn't read this series because there's a lot of gushes of blood everywhere. And if you have a problem with bullying, or if you have a problem with medical experimentations, and that's all I'm going to say, you shouldn't read this. Also, if you have any kind of triggering with scars, maybe you shouldn't read this as well. But after that, I think that it's not gory at all. It's just fairly you get a lot of discomfort reading some parts because it's really heavy. But yeah, I would totally recommend this series, and I haven't heard anyone talk about this. And for what I show you, you can see that the covers are gorgeous, the art style is gorgeous, the story is so beautiful, and it makes me want to cry every single time that I read one of these mangas. So I thoroughly recommend this. You should give it a try if this is one of your thing.
まだこの世界は僕を飼いならしてたいみたいだ望み通りだろう しくもがくよ互いの砂時計眺めながらキスをしようよさよならから一番遠い場所で待ち合わせようついに時は来た昨日までは序章の序章で飛ばし読みでいいからこっからが僕だよ経験と知識とカビの生えかかった勇気を持って未だかつてないスピードで君の元へダイブを
Remember when I said I was going to read Parasite because I wanted to read to finish all of my challenges? Well, I forgot that the Outstanding for Transfiguration was still not done. So what I read was the 6th volume of the Sleepless comic, and this fulfilled the challenge for a book with royals or a kingdom on it. So this book has both of them. It has royals and a kingdom. And this is a comic book. It is about this kingdom where this bastard daughter of the king dies, and her uncle is the one that reigns now. And she has a sleepless night, which is a vow that one makes to never ever sleep. And it's kind of a magic thing to be able to protect the other person. And so she is attempted, people are trying to murder her, basically. I don't know how to speak today. And so he's trying to protect her, but at the same time, he's been too many years without sleeping, and he is starting to have hallucinations and paranoia and other unpleasantries that will probably bring him to an eternal comatose sleep. And so it's kind of dramatic, but it's really cool. It has a lot of diversity because most of our characters are Asian, Hispanic, or Black. So that is pretty cool. Obviously, you have your white characters, but they're not the main characters at all. They're like secondary main characters. And the artwork is pretty cool. I think I filmed a little clip of it so that you can see. I really loved it. And now I officially have a no in Transfiguration. So to recap, I have a no in Care of Magical Creatures, I have a no in Charms, I have an O in Mystery of Magic, and I have a no in Transfiguration. So the only thing that is missing is Potions, which I only have an acceptable in. And now I have to read my Exceed Expectations for Potions, which is Parasite. And I will probably read all of the 8 volumes of the manga. I am not sure, but I will try. And then for my O in Potions, I'm going to read Vicious by v.e.schwab, and I hope that I can finish that book without problem. So let us see. It's gonna getting tight, but I hope that I can finish everything and have an O in all of these. I would be really, really happy. But for now, that's my update, and now I'm just gonna go do more thesis work because I've been reading Sleepless for like 10 minutes. Okay, 20 minutes. So I have to work. Howdy! It's kind of been a while, hasn't it? Probably, because I was working Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday I was completely and utterly dead, so I believe that I haven't filmed anything on Friday. I am not sure. And I have something on my nose again, like, what? I'm doing like the snakes. I'm just losing my skin. But what I was saying, I think I haven't filmed anything for Friday, and I definitely haven't filmed anything on Saturday or Sunday. So I just came here with a very quick update so I can proceed with having my thesis live, because I have to correct some shit. But yeah, so what did I read? Did I set... I think I showed some clips that I finished the comic that I had to read for Transfiguration to get an outstanding. The one that has royals in it. It is called Sleepless, and I finished it, obviously. So, yeah, I was reading My Exceeding Expectations for Potions, which was a male main character. And I read the entirety of the manga series for Parasite. Parasite is an 8-volume manga series, and it is great. It is basically about this guy called Shinichi, and he wakes up one day with this sort of snake creature trying to fit inside of him. And the snake creature gets into his hand, and then it's kind of like it ate his hand, so it is now replaced its hand. And it's a parasite. It's a being that is able to perceive things and understand things in the way that humans do. It can speak, it can learn, it can do a lot of things. It has more speed and more power and a different perception of the world than humans do. And so basically he has to learn how to coexist with that parasite. And meanwhile, other parasites that actually got to people's brains and so command the entire body are trying to destroy them because they are like this supposed functional mistake. This wasn't supposed to happen, having two living things inside of one another, like a symbiont of some sorts. So it's kind of interesting. At the beginning, it looked fairly ancient, because it is ancient, but it kind of looked like those ancient laughing sort of mangas, and I was like, this is not my jam at all. But then it got stupidly deep, really emotional, with a character development up the roof, and with a lot of philosophical questions that I wasn't expecting about what are we doing to the earth and what are we actually doing in the earth. So it was pretty cool. And if we actually are the parasites, or if the parasites are the parasites. So who's the real parasite in here? And it was pretty cool. I really love them. It was fairly easy to read, although each volume had 200 and something pages, because it's a manga. So, and it had a lot of action sequences without words. So although I was watching the art, I could read it faster than normal volumes with a lot of words. So now the only thing that I've got left to read is for my outstanding in potions, which is Vicious by v.e.schwab. And I've hyped this book so much in my head that if it doesn't agree with my expectations, I don't know, I think I'm gonna kill someone, because I'm going to be so fucking frustrated. I'm just gonna say it like this. And I am really, like, I haven't started reading it late last night. I haven't. I am saving myself for when I have time so I can get it and read it. And yeah, I'm overhyping this so much. So I hope that this is good. If any of you guys read Vicious, you can share your thoughts down below, because probably by the end of posting this video I would already have read it. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys thought of it, and if your expectations really coincided with reality or not. So yeah, I have to read Vicious, and that's what I have to do, but I have a lot of thesis work to do, and yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do today. So, oh, and I haven't said what day it is, have I? Today is 27th of August, so I only have a week, or most accurately 5 days to finish Vicious, which I don't know if it's going to be possible. So let's just all pretend that I can do this, and yeah, I'm out.
How many days have passed like this? The city, the crowd is fading, moving on. I sometimes have wondered where you've gone. Story carries on, lonely, lost inside. I had this dream so many times. The moments we spent has passed and gone away. Could there be an end to this? What I'm feeling deep inside. You know there's no looking back. Glassy sky above. As long as I'm alive, you will be part of me. Glassy sky, the cold, the broken pieces of me. The mystery of it I recall.
No! It's been a while again. I'm so sorry, but I haven't really had the time to update you guys. Mainly because I have been reading and working on my thesis, which is pretty much all of what I do. And I'm beginning to think that I have zero social life and zero other hobbies in my life, except for eating, because I love eating. But apart from that, so I just wanted to tell you that today is the 29th of August, and yesterday evening I finished Vicious by v.e.schwab, which means I finally finished all of my TBR for the N.E.W.Ts Readathon, which means I finished with 3 days in advance. Isn't that completely awesome? I never thought that I could have done it. I am really happy that I did it. I don't know how I did it. I think it was by reading comics and manga, because to be fairly positive and true to you guys, if I had only been reading books, I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't have a schedule that allows me to read that much. The only time that I read a lot was basically these past 2 days. Because I started Vicious at 11 something in the evening in the day of the 27th of August, and I finished it before 11 in the evening of the 28th. So I finished Vicious in less than 24 hours, and let me say, I love that book. I actually filmed today a book review / spoiler talk for Vicious because I just couldn't sit tight without talking about that book. So that's going to be something to probably come up in September, because I thought that I should wait until Vengeful hit shelves. And I think Vengeful hits shelves in September. I'll pre-order it, but I pre-ordered a paperback edition, so I have no idea when I'll have Vengeful. So I decided to just post it in September. And yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do with these videos. I don't know if I'm going to post this N.E.W.Ts ending before Friday and post a new video on Friday, or what am I going to do with it? I have no idea. Like, I wasn't expecting to end the readathon so soon, and I am really happy that I did it. I didn't finish all the subjects, but I finished all the subjects that I had proposed myself to do, and that's really cool. So let's just do a recap for what I had for this readathon. Okay, so here's my list, and it's all scribbled and squabbled down, and I haven't even put the mark in Vicious, so I'm gonna put that with my pen. I'm gonna make a mark for Vicious. Yes, okay, so now it's done, and now I'm going to just pretty much do a recap of all my readathon. So I had 5 subjects in a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, in a total of 15 books. So 5 subjects and 3 challenges for each of them. And my goal was to get an outstanding in all of my 5s. So I had to read 3 things for all of my 5s. So, starting with Careful Magical Creatures, I read a book with an animal on the cover, which was actually a manga called She and Her Cat. I read a book under 160 pages, which was an issue of Gideon Falls, which is a comic. And a book that includes dragons in any way, for which I read a manga also, and that was Fairy Tail Volume 5. And then for charms, I read the book with magic in it, which was Ruby, that big-ass volume that you've seen in my previous videos. If you have, I don't know, just go check them out, okay? Then I read a book with a cover that charmed you, which was also a manga, and it was the first manga in the Ruby anthologies called Red Like Roses. And then I read a book that will leave a mark, and I read the first 3 volumes of Happiness, the manga for this one. Then I read History of Magic. For History of Magic, I read a book that will fit right in at the Hogwarts Library, and I read A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf, a book that was published at least 5 years ago, and I read Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, a book that has at least 400 pages long, and I read The Constant Garden by John le Carré. Then for Transfiguration, for Potions, I read a book with the name of a color in the title, and I read the 8 volumes of the comic series The White Knight, Batman the White Knight. Then I read a book with a male lead character, and I read the 8 volumes of the manga series Parasite, and then a book over 350 pages, which was Vicious, that had 364 pages. And then for Transfiguration, finally, I read a book with a grey cover, which was Of Love and Shadows by Isabel Allende. Then a book by an author who haven't read anything before, which was Happiness Volumes 4 and 5. Then a book set in a kingdom or that has royals, and for that one, which was the last prompt, it was an issue of another comic called Sleepless, and it was issue number 6, I believe. So, that was my entire recap for the N.E.W.T.s. I am still not sure if I'm going to film anything else or if I'm going to just end the vlog here, which is probably a good idea because it's going to have more than 20 minutes, maybe, I don't know. So, I don't know, but depending on that, I'm just going to give you my goodbyes already and say to you that I'm very, very happy that I ended this readathon with 3 days to spare. I never thought this was going to be possible, and I am so freaking happy. But right now, I have to leave house to go to my faculty, or to my college, whatever you want to say, because I have some thesis problems that I have to solve with a colleague. So yeah, I am so very happy about this, and if you can, and if you participated in the N.E.W.T.s, please tell me down below, like, what did you achieve? I actually achieved a no in all of the 5 categories, so I am really, really happy about this, and I can't wait for the next year for the Owls and the N.E.W.T.s. I cannot wait. G from Bookworms is saying that she's thinking about a lot of different prompts, and I cannot wait. So yeah, and I hope the Ravenclaws win the readathon again. Don't want to be mean, but I am a Ravenclaw, so I really hope that we win. But yeah, that is it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed these vlogs, and I'm going to say goodbye because I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to film anything else for the N.E.W.T.s. So yeah, thanks to all that came with me on this journey, and I hope that you enjoyed my vlogs.